Well, there it is. We're into a new year. Happy 2020, everybody. Episode 20, fittingly, for the Best Coast Sports Connection. Andy Bishop, Thomas Conroy, Brian Vilvin. How are we doing, my friends?
Pretty good.
The pre-show was amazing.
Yeah.
We had a great
Good
pre-show.
thing that didn't air. And for the first time ever on the BCSC, we are joined by a guest. He is very special. He's our Survivor winner, Mr. Trevor Jensen. There he is.
Hi, everybody. Great to be on this podcast. We're going to have a good time today.
All right, I'm nervous. I'm just putting it out there.
There's some blood relation on the right side of your screen here between Brian and Trevor. First cousins, correct?
Yeah, our moms are sisters, and we grew up across the street from each other, and we lived together against all odds for a handful of years. And
I tortured him a lot.
Pretty much my entire life,
Yep.
I've been getting beat up by this guy, so it's fitting that he would win the Survivor pool and be our first guest here on the podcast.
I'm here to torture you now again.
Yes, I'm just if you can feel the cringing in my soul.
You seem a little tight, BB.
So we'll get into a few more topics, but we do have to lead with our Survivor League. We started off the podcast during the summer, and then we wanted to do this Survivor League going into the NFL season, and it was a lot of fun. We started with 65 people to begin, and it took the entire 17-week season to declare a winner, and it was Mr. Trevor Jensen.
It was.
Not without some controversy, though.
Of course there was controversy. I mean, we'll get into it, but the custom algorithm that I created, I had 3 analysts that I hired specifically for that purpose, and it just mapped everything out perfectly, which involved some sleight of hand on my part as well, which we'll also get into. But really, the intention was to keep everybody off balance and really show the world how much my custom algorithm can predict on these Survivor Leagues. So, anyway.
It's a new business venture for us.
Yes. Oh, man. I wouldn't expect anything less of our first-year winner.
Have you ever been in a Survivor pool before?
No, can't say that I have.
Wow, okay. And
Is
Andy,
that the league we were in?
Yeah. Is that the thing I was submitting picks for?
Yeah, okay, got it.
Andy, you've done how many over the years?
It's probably been 8 or 9 years.
And what's the furthest you've ever seen it go?
The furthest I've seen it go, I believe, is week 15, and that
Okay.
was the one that I was going into the final with one other person, and I lost. It's crazy how it happened. So let's go into the details.
All right, let's
here.
hear it.
We were down to 11 participants, of course, including Trevor, and I believe week 10 or 11,
Yep.
give or take. And everybody made a pick except for Trevor.
Yeah, so see what happened was, so I ran basically 5 million different scenarios through my custom algorithm. It's kind of like Avengers Endgame, where there was one scenario where I could really win this league, and not only just win it, but win it in a manner that kind of got everyone upset. So we'll keep going into it, but go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, so everybody made a pick, the 10 others, and Trevor did not make a pick. I'm not sure if he just was late to make the pick.
The only way I could win, using the Miami Dolphins on the last game, but keep going.
So all 10 of the other people lost. I think the Saints lost to the Falcons that week, so that was
Knocked
a
out
good
a
chunk
bunch
of
of
it. But so when everybody loses, everybody wins in the Survivor League. So even though Trevor, what some may say, forfeited by not making a pick, he still went on because everybody else lost as well. And it kept going,
Did you know going into that week where everybody lost what the protocol was and that everybody gets to stick around, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I knew the protocol when I've been in a couple leagues where when it gets down to 2 or 3, when all those individuals have lost, then they continue going. But when you have somebody that doesn't make a pick, that throws a little wrinkle into it.
So I actually went through and read the rules before that week to make sure that I understood exactly what was going to happen. And, like I said, the algorithm predicted that I shouldn't make a pick that week, and that was the best odds of winning.
So you must have known then that
ballsy,
everybody else was going to win.
I
Or
knew
maybe
that
you said that
everybody
everyone
was
was going to lose.
Yeah, that's what.
So
that's
you
what
knew
was
all the
predicted.
teams that were going to lose.
Right.
So couldn't you have just picked one of the other teams?
See, that's what a lot of people would ask.
That's what I want to know.
And see, the thing was, no, you couldn't do that because
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Because history favors the bold, I think was his direct quote.
And
In ultimate trolling fashion, you sent a mass email out to everybody in
And
the
then
league
he
that
picks.
said, history favors the bold.
And then my favorite part was he picked the Saints the next week. I think the pick that everybody
Team that everybody had lost with the week before.
Man,
Trevor.
can't
It
make
was
this stuff
troll
up.
central.
And then I remember that we came on the air the next week, and Andy said, I hope Trevor wins this thing. Thomas was still alive.
Yeah.
Thomas was still in it, so Thomas was like, wow, thank you. And Andy said, I hope Trevor wins, and I hope we can get him on the podcast. And 17 weeks later, we are here.
Here we are.
Yeah. So Thomas, I don't mean to
Salt the wound.
to rehash this, but you lost in week 14,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah,
With the
Eagles over the Dolphins.
oh no
when they had the 2-touchdown lead.
the Dolphins.
The Dolphins really brought it on at the end of the year. That was in the algorithm?
It was in the algorithm.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. Yeah. He
Don't,
knew.
don't pick them until they're at their peak in week 17.
Don't pick them till they're playing the best team in the NFL and at the last minute, so you could just tell everybody like, wow, I was so much better than everyone else in this league that I won using the Dolphins, the one team that everyone picked against every single week.
Well, I thought the Dolphins might go winless this year. At the beginning of the year, we
They
were
were
talking
the
about
team
the
to pick
0
against every
16
week.
Dolphins. Yeah, I said I'm just going to follow the Dolphins along the season. And
Yeah, our strategy from week 1 through 8 was to pick whatever team went against the Dolphins.
yeah, and then eventually they were going to play against the Jets, and we'd have to figure out who to pick.
But
So
the
the
Bengals.
the only thing, I mean, I kind of feel bad for Trevor because he's never played in a Survivor League before, and because he won, he didn't lose with any particular team, and I think most of the fun in the Survivor League is hating the team that you lost because of. Like, I now hate the Dallas Cowboys because they threw up a dud against the Jets, and that knocked me out. So I'm sorry that you don't get to feel that sensation because I know my now hate for the Cowboys is bigger than your excitement for winning. So I think
So-
technically we all won. There were 64 winners,
wow.
and you were the only one who lost. What'd the algorithm
lost
say
it
about
live.
that?
Yeah, no, now there's a new wrinkle. I'm going to have to program that in. I'm going to have to code that in.
So next year, Trevor's going to lose intentionally just so he can feel what
well,
we
I'll
felt.
tell you what. I went to a Charger
You better
game.
get on the Commodore 64 and get that algorithm going there, my friend.
I went to a Charger game in L.A. when they were playing Pittsburgh, and it was 90% Pittsburgh
You
fans.
went to a Charger game?
Yeah.
Did they
Really?
won this
Yeah.
year?
I didn't
Yeah, I
know
did.
On
that.
Sunday night?
Yeah, on
Did
Sunday
you
night.
just not tell me about it because you didn't want me to ridicule you, or because Trevor is still a Charger fan? He is. He won't admit it, but he definitely is. He always
without
talks
Rivers,
about him, and
without Rivers, it's going to change my mind if he's
Okay.
out this year. But like, I love Rivers.
I do too. And we've all said we love him, and like that's the only connection that we still have to the team.
Yep.
Like we want him to do well,
Yep.
and the team to still lose.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember right after after they first left San Diego, we were living together, and Trevor was talking about all the great draft that the Chargers had and all that, and I was like, no more Charger talk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
flipped, and I was like, no, I can't do it. So I forgot you're still a
It's
closet
like getting
fan.
kicked in the groin weekly
still.
for like 17 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
what was that game like? I never never
like,
been to a
the
game there.
Steelers
But that
fans were like waving towels, cheering. The Chargers were just so defeated on the field because there was no Charger fans. It was just
Yeah.
all like black and yellow,
Saw
and they're
the
like
pictures.
talking trash to all the Charger anyone who like claps for a Charger thing. So they're like making you be quiet. They're like chanting defense and like, I mean, it was terrible. It was really hard to see.
That's awesome.
Spanos couldn't eat a big fat. Yeah. Anyway. Hopefully he's not a sponsor.
We agree on something there.
Did you guys see that post-game interview with Philip Rivers?
Yeah,
Where he
choked up.
shed a tear or got
How
choked
can
up?
you not love the dude?
I know.
Are we getting trolled?
Yeah, I think we're getting trolled here. It's okay. They don't
They're-
pick up the music very well on these mics.
They're trying to tell me to surrender.
They're like, yeah, you think you can talk over this?
You're having too much fun back there.
So what do you guys think is the future for Rivers?
I hope he keeps playing, and I hope he goes elsewhere because this it is the only like little tie that we have left to the team, and I really want to root for him to do well and to win something. So
I'll be happy if he goes to a team that actually has a chance.
Yeah, me too.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. I want him to move on from the Chargers.
What
It
do you,
kinda- it kinda
what do you
just
think would be
have-
a good fit?
Well, we've talked about
We have- Thomas is
Denver,
working on a little piece too.
Tennessee, Thomas.
I'm predicting the Raiders.
That would actually be kind of awesome for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
If he goes there and wins a ring with the Raiders,
Oh, that would be, and it's in Vegas, so we could go. I want to go see that stadium anyway.
Yeah.
play some
The-
top golf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In.
That would be. Ooh, I'd be super down.
That would be the ultimate,
You know,
stick at Spanos.
Gruden doesn't like the way Carr ended this season. I think he's about done with them.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine what Gruden could do with Phillip
Yeah.
Rivers?
Yeah.
Oh
his,
my
his
gosh.
type of player, has that little edge to him.
Yep.
I just
And-
think it's a perfect marriage. You know,
Yeah.
for the remaining time of his career, no doubt.
Yeah.
And as good as Josh Jacobs was this year, they've got a good ground game. We know Phillip plays well with Tyrell Williams.
Yeah,
so
Tyrell
that would
Williams would be an all-star again.
I mean, the Raiders would be a playoff team if they had Phillip Rivers as a
I agree.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Derek Waller, the tight end.
Yeah, that kid's a stud. He would be. Yeah, everyone would get so much better
Would
with
you
him throwing
would
the
you
ball.
buy a Raiders shirt or jersey?
Ooh,
A Rivers
jersey?
gold or silver and black?
Raiders jersey.
The only way I'm buying a Raiders jersey is if they go with my design that that I
yeah.
whipped up for
You submitted?
ESPN a
No
couple
big
years
deal.
ago. Yeah,
Yep.
That had
With
that
the
had
little
some gold,
trim.
right?
Yeah, the little gold trim.
to match the
Yeah, the-
Vegas Knights, right?
Exactly. So if they went with that, I'd for sure buy a jersey. Well, they'd give me one. And if it was Phillip Rivers, I would absolutely.
Do all the viewers back home know that Brian designed a custom jersey for the Raiders and they put it online saying it's the best design they've ever seen in the history of designs?
I don't
It
think
was
they
like
know that.
kind of like that, but
I mean, I might have taken a little bit of liberties with it, but it was something like that.
just a little. But yeah, that would be pretty sweet. I was also imagining a scenario because a lot of people have been talking about Tom Brady wants to go play for the Chargers in LA, be in the warm weather, usher them into the new stadium. Has a house in LA, and he and his supermodel wife want to just go be full-time LA people, like the LeBron approach,
Yep.
So what about just a quarterback swap? Send Phillip Rivers to New England to play with Belichick
Jeez.
and lead that team as Tom Brady quarterbacks the Los Angeles Chargers to a 4-12 record.
That would be insane. Yeah.
I'd like that.
I wouldn't mind
Brady
seeing
does
that at
not
all.
want to go out on that note.
No, but people
maybe.
are talking like Brady to the Chargers is a done deal.
Thomas?
It's like
In-
real.
I think
life.
Thomas might have some insight on this. Yeah.
No,
Thomas is probably not at liberty to talk, but have you heard the talk about Brady to the Chargers?
a little birdie chirped to me this morning,
You got a guy who knows a guy? Yeah. Nice.
and they said that the Chargers are really concerned about the season ticket situation in their new stadium in Inglewood, and so Spanos is kind of coming up with a scenario of offering Brady a deal where he gets a small percentage of the team as part of his salary to play at least 1 year, and then kind of become the spokesperson for the team. Not so much running the front office, but just being a figurehead.
Is it their strategy right now is just whatever city is playing against them, they advertise out there, and that city buys all the
Basically,
tickets?
that's what they're banking on. That's
That's a
their
good one. Bring your season ticket holders.
Yeah.
There was an article that came out earlier this year, and it said that the Chargers' strategy is to try to prove that you can be a professional team and
With
not
no
have any
fans.
with no fan base. You can be a successful professional franchise with zero fan base, and that it works. Like,
Hey, that's
such an
kind of a
embarrassment.
similar philosophy to Trevor's Survivor.
You don't
I
have to
see the
pick.
parallels. Still need to talk about the whole league using Miami, but I'm sure we'll get to that part.
Oh, Miami.
I mean, yeah. So
He must have been the only person to pick Miami all year.
I
There's no way anyone picked the Dolphins, right?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No one.
Troll level expert.
One question about that week. When did you find out that everybody lost that week? Like, how late into the day? Were you actively following like the games, or?
So I knew before it even happened.
Okay.
Because just again, my algorithm predicted it, but then I probably found out a couple days later that it all worked out as magic. I don't know.
Via
Brian
my
probably-
email
So
to
I-
the league.
I texted Trevor and I said, Trevor, you didn't submit a pick this week. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, why would I submit a pick? And then I told him that he was still alive in the league, and he pretended like he knew the entire time and that was destined to happen. So, yeah, he it was probably Sunday afternoon sometime. You remember where you were that weekend?
I was in some other city where I wasn't.
You were in the mountain. I think you were in like Arizona in the mountains or something.
Yeah.
Probably on some vision quest where it mapped out the Survivor League for him. I also, oh man. So my dad was one of the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was really into it, following along religiously the entire time, and he's really good at picking games. And the fact that Trevor won.
I mean,
It must make him so mad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can confirm that.
Uncle Bob.
Thomas was working with my dad this last week up at Cathedral, and
Uncle Bob, if you're listening, all of it was intentional. Every single step of the way was predicted and basically mapped out on that analyst.
his blood is boiling right now just
Right
hearing
now.
Trevor
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
I hear it. Trevor Jensen, our Survivor winner, providing some bulletin board material for the participants
For
next year.
next season.
We're gonna, as I've mentioned, we're gonna throw a few more wrinkles into it next year. Hopefully, we get some more people, some more money in the pot. Add a few.
Yeah.
We're gonna have thousands of people now.
Yeah, spread the word, Trevor.
People, yeah.
Well, especially now that we know all this new insider information about.
We'll
Philip
see how that
Rivers and the
philosophy
Raiders
works
and
next
Tom
year.
Brady in the chart, yeah, and the 5 million simulations, and Trevor's going to sell that business probably before next year
Probably have to ramp it up to 10 or 12 million simulations
because of how many
but-
teams are in the
Yeah,
league. Yeah, how
yeah.
many players?
Totally.
All right, well, let's talk real football.
Okay.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
Good time of year. Playoffs. What? So we have the Patriots Titans on
Yep.
Sunday, Bills Texans on Sunday, and then on Saturday Saints Vikings, Eagles Seahawks.
No, it's the other way around. AFC on
Oh,
Saturday.
AFC on Saturday. My bad.
Yeah.
Other way around.
Mm-hmm.
What matchup are you guys looking forward to the most this wild card weekend?
I'm just excited. I think the NFL overall this year was really top heavy. There was a lot of really bad teams, so I'm excited to trim all that fat and get them out of there. And I think the NFC playoffs are more exciting than the AFC playoffs
Agreed.
because there's legitimately all 6 teams in the NFC could win. The one team that kind of snuck in had to win the NFC East, Philadelphia. They're 2 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. So they could totally win. Everybody else was a double-digit winner. I still think San Francisco's the favorite there, but this wild card weekend, I could see both road teams going on the road and winning. I don't think the Saints will lose, but I think Seattle, depending on how the running game goes, has a good shot against Philadelphia. And I don't know, man. It's so open. It's really exciting, though. But I haven't been this excited about the playoffs in a while, especially since the Chargers left. I've paid a lot more attention this year.
I think that Vikings-Taints game is going to be really something. Drew Brees is my guy. I am a Viking, but I'm going to have to root him against him because I love Drew Brees, and basically like all the Chargers, once they get cut, go over there, a little Darren Sproles action.
And win Super Bowls
Yeah.
with the Saints.
Yeah. So Saints are my team I'm going to cheer for. I don't know. I want to cheer for a team.
All
and
right.
it will be
I
the
like
Taints.
it. You're
Yep.
taking the – all right.
Thomas?
I think the Vikings Saints game is probably going to be the best game on the dial. The one that I think could be piques my interest is the Titans over the Pats, because if they can upset the Patriots, that would be that would throw such a monkey wrench into the entire playoff. I mean, to finally kill the beast, so to speak, in their home stadium would be amazing. But I don't
Brady
expect
deal
it.
for us?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
It's been
I
a
don't either.
decade in the making. We've always been like, okay, so this year they're going to get them. Last year was the Chargers. The 12-4 Chargers are going to go in and throttle the Patriots, and finally this is the end of Belichick and Brady. And then, yeah, they were up by 5 touchdowns by the half. Like that was an absolute smashing. So I don't ever bet against Belichick and Brady in the playoffs. But it's also, I think it's only the second time in the last 10 years they've had to play in the first weekend.
Yeah.
That is so insane. They're just used to that bye week. They've never.
And they lost that week too. They lost to the Ravens. Ravens got off to that hot start.
Wow. Thomas is calling his shot here.
I just
All right,
don't
Thomas.
see either of the 3 seeds losing this week. Patriots home, Saints at home. They play so well in their respective.
Who do you think has the best shot on the road to winning?
I think the Bills. I mean, they've their defense has been so amazing all year round. The Texans, you know, I won't say they snuck into the playoffs, but you know they bested the Titans by a game. So, yeah, I think that's the matchup I'm actually looking forward to the most because I see those teams being very similarly matched. So we'll see. We'll see.
Trev, you got some fans watching. You want to say hello to your cousin Shauna?
Hey, Shawnee Chris, how you doing?
Shauna doesn't like our Phillip Rivers to the Raiders talk, by the way. She's not feeling that. But
we used to hang out at those Charger games and do some tail tainting and just like have the best times ever. I miss that. I want a team back in San Diego so we can hang out and do something on Sundays.
all right, so we're getting a team back
We're
in
getting
San Diego
a team.
now.
10
It's-
years, baby.
There it
Give
is.
us
And
give us
then-
a decade.
A decade.
2030.
And then when they're in the playoffs, we will we'll all be pulling for them. But yeah, I don't know. You guys, what version of Kirk Cousins do you think we're going to get this time?
Probably the Monday Night Football version.
So they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But the Vikings did 2 years ago go into New Orleans and beat the Saints. So.
You know, it's really been their running game that's, you know, kind of been
Been the
a
jam.
consistent that's
Yeah.
helped their offense, and then without Cook for the last couple weeks. But I think they have him healthy
Is he
this
playing?
week.
Yeah.
So that I think that, you know, gives them a better chance. But still, I don't see the Saints losing in the Superdome.
Do you guys see any of these teams that are playing this weekend going on the road and being capable of winning at any of the top seeds? Green Bay, San Francisco, Kansas City, or Baltimore?
I think more so in the NFC.
Yep.
I mean, the Saints, you know, 13-3 on the road if they win to Lambeau.
Yep.
I could easily see them winning against the Packers. The
Yep.
Packers have won so many close games in such ugly fashion this year, and yet they're still 13-3. So I could easily see the Saints beating them, and then even the Seahawks on the road against the Niners. Every game, both games
Yeah.
they've played have been, you know, within, you know, a yard or within a field goal of being close. So I could see the Seahawks going on the road and winning as
Yeah.
well.
The Packers have been the most unimpressive number 2 seed in the NFL this year. I mean, every time I think they were going to take off and take hold of that number 1 seed, they fell flat on their face. Chargers, San Francisco, they just played so pitiful that you were like, how does this team even win games? They look so incompetent offensively, and Rodgers has had a poor year. I mean, he was my quarterback in fantasy, and he was horrible.
I think, though, Aaron Rodgers said that I don't want to call it like load management like in the NBA, but basically he was trying to say they just wanted to get the job done during the regular season, but that they got a lot of bullets left and that they're just kind of waiting to strike. So he may just be totally full of it, but
What,
I don't know if-
Adams didn't play the first like 10 games, so he's like
Yeah.
rested up, ready to go.
he'll be fresh. I don't know, I have a hard time betting against Aaron Rodgers against really anybody. Maybe Drew Brees. I think, man, that would be an awesome matchup. I
Yeah.
hope we get to see that because that would be a heck of a game. But then you put him up against any of the other quarterbacks left. Every team has good quarterbacks,
Yeah.
though, in the
Yeah.
NFC.
Yeah.
Man,
Waffle Wilson's been doing real good.
NFC playoffs are going to be real good. I'm excited.
I'm calling this the Drew Brees revenge tour. It starts with the Vikings, and he overtakes Rodgers, and then he upsets San Francisco to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Wow, so we
that's
got
a
Trevor
prediction.
and Thomas pulling for
Let's
the
hang
Saints
out.
to the Super Bowl.
Let's
Wow.
drink some beers.
AB, you
What?
got any predictions?
I really want it to be Breeze, but I'm going to stick with the Niners. They've just been so consistent. All year they've won close games, so I could see them doing that again. And in the AFC, I'm going to stick with the Ravens. I'm sticking with the 1 seeds, I guess. As much as I would love to see Breeze and Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I'm sticking with the Niners and the Ravens for a Super Bowl.
I got Niners
Matchup.
Chiefs. That was my call a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah.
now that the Chiefs have that bye, I think they'll be a lot more healthy and ready to rock and roll. I'd love to see that. The red and gold matchups in the Super Bowl. Trev, Saints,
Saints
Yeah.
and Niners.
that doesn't work.
Or that NFC championship.
That's in
Oh,
fantasy.
Yeah.
That works. Saints and
Our
Ravens.
survivor expert right here.
Survivor expert.
Oh my gosh. We need to let him know next time so he can put it in the algorithm. And, yeah.
Paper with some,
Oh, he needs a one sheet.
brackets. I need to see some stuff.
Thomas, who's your Who are your teams in the Super Bowl? Maybe
Saints, Ravens, Saints winning, Breeze retiring after the game.
Oh, wow.
On the stage?
Dropping the mic
Oh,
after.
baby.
Yeah. A bold prediction.
there you
love
go.
it, guys. Would love. Oh man, NFL playoffs getting me excited. A little more news happening here in San Diego. Our San Diego State Aztecs
Oh, yeah.
basketball team continuing to impress.
Getting after it.
Still in the losses.
Yep. 14
Along with Auburn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
15th in the country.
Yep.
Them and Auburn are the only undefeated teams.
You've made it out to a game or two, right,
Yeah.
Thomas?
Yeah, I mean they look so impressive. I mean that backcourt is so amazing. They're really how well they play. I mean, and Flynn is he amazes me what he does. I was trying to figure out who he reminds me of, and he reminds me of Jason Williams. Remember Jason Williams with the Sacramento Kings?
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
He reminds me of him because anytime when he has the ball in his hand, you're just glued to see what he's going to do, and usually it's something that you're like, wow, I never knew you could do that on a basketball court.
Little Pistol Pete kind of action.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Mm-hmm.
The whole team, they're just it's kind of how we talked about the San Diego State football team. You put a really good quarterback with that offense to then match how good the defense has been, which is, one of the best defenses in the country. And on the basketball side, they have one of the best defenses in the country, leading in defensive efficiency, I believe. And then you put in an offense that is really solid as well. And their 4 biggest wins, they shot almost 50% from 3 and have scored a ton of points in the paint. They've scored a couple of games with over 40 points in the paint. So that mix of front court and back court play, it's the most dynamic offense they've ever had to go with one of the best defenses. And I honestly think this is one of the best, if not, first or second best San Diego State team they've ever had.
Yeah, certainly the one you're looking at or enjoy watching just as much as the 2011 team, right?
Yep.
With Kawhi
Yeah,
that
2010,
went to
11.
the Sweet 16. So, no reason to doubt that they could go on a deep tournament run this year.
Yep.
So we'll continue to watch as the
Tomorrow's
season
a big
progresses.
one, man. The last team that they've lost to was Utah State in the Mountain West Championship game last year.
Ooh.
So got to get a little redemption here. I mean, it's a totally different team this year for the Aztecs, but I think
I believe Utah State was the preseason number 1 pick
Yeah.
in the conference.
they
so
were,
I
and they
think
were ranked in the preseason top
Yeah.
25 as well, and
It's a big
13 and
win.
3, still really good.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill's the stud guard for
Yeah.
Utah State. He's averaging almost 20 points a game, so got to keep that guy contained. They also have a really good big guy down low, a sophomore kid, Bean, who's averaging a double-double. So
And to,
have our hands
and
full.
to plug the website, Brian did a great job previewing the game. So
Boom, there you go.
take a look at it.
BCSportsConnect.com. Got a little Aztec Utah State preview. So
Love it.
Trev, fired up about the Aztecs?
Super fired up. I mean, their defense has always been elite level, but you throw some good offense in there, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, that's pretty exciting to watch.
Yep. Well,
It was always exciting, but
Totally.
more exciting. Yeah.
yeah. And the atmosphere's back, Thomas. You've been to the games. That's
Oh yeah.
the show's showing back up.
The show is back.
Yeah, it's one of those teams where you kind of came out of nowhere and you just flocked to them. Even when I even watched the Cal Poly game and I knew they were going to blow them out.
Yeah.
It's a fun team to watch and came out of nowhere. So I'm really excited.
Well, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network's your chance to
Yeah.
watch them.
Let's watch it. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead,
just going to
Brian.
say, that's another thing that gets me real fired up about the Aztecs is that you never know where their game is going to be. They're on a different network every time,
Yeah.
or they're on Facebook, or they're streaming on our website or something. Like, we got to get
We'll
that
get those
figured out.
right soon enough.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well,
All right.
good stuff, guys. That's going to wrap it up here for episode 20. Thanks to our
Can
man,
we do
Trevor
some
Jensen.
official handshakes or something? Like, look at
Thanks,
look at that,
Trev.
look at that,
What a
look at that.
champ.
Wow, you guys.
Our first ever guest. The ratings are just going up astronomically.
Just exploding through the roof.
But no, seriously, thanks again for
Yeah,
joining
thanks for
us.
having me,
Hope
guys.
to have
This
many
was a
more
lot of
guests
fun.
this year. We're going to have some fun with it. Brian, Thomas, well done. Any final words?
And look for the logarithm right there.
Yeah, the algorithm.
Yeah.
The algorithm, excuse me.
I might release it. I might not. Who knows?
And with his winnings, Trevor's going to buy us a round of beers
Yes,
right now.
exactly.
So
Challenge accepted.
Episode 20.
Thanks,
Donezo.
Andy.
See you next time.
Thanks, guys.